You as
in
an
Liberia.
individual or the
Yeah,
principal association?
I'm the convener. I'm the convener because, like I said, it's a
Okay.
post award project.
Okay.
So every like after the Liberian edition, the guy who won from Ghana is going to also host another one. Yeah,
Awardees are
yeah,
convening these
awarding,
conferences.
convening these conferences to bring back what they've already gathered
Okay.
from the other places.
Okay.
So once you win the award, you have to organize a similar conference in your country.
So
Bring together
mm,
your members and
mm.
association members and individuals to benefit from those trainings.
What does it hope to achieve?
Well, a lot. Again, you got the brochure before you. Best practices in early childhood education, bringing together one of the best we have in Liberia, Dr. Casero, who is going to be taking us through some of the leading edge theories and methods of early childhood. We have best practices in special education, best practices in vocational and technical education coming to us from one of Liberia's best, Tanu from BWI, Tanu Flomo Harris. I think we were just there over the weekend when the University of Liberia and the Booker Washington Institute signed the new memorandum of understanding for the elevation of the Associate of Arts degree, and the list goes on. So besides our participants going home with some of the most proven practices now in education in those various areas, they're going to be awardees. There are some Liberians who are going to be walking away with also the African Education Legend Award. Prominent among them, we have Stella Marie, former president, who's going to be winning that award. And we also have Minister Latim Dacton, who's going to be winning that award. We will also have Tanu Foma Harris going to be winning that award. There are several other prominent personalities who have proven themselves in education in Liberia in a wider landscape that are going to be winning that award. Besides the African Education Legend Award, there are these people who will be winning a little lower award called the Liberian Education Legend Award. And those are the stepping stone. When you win the Liberian Education Legend Award, then you may be qualified maybe in the future for the African Education Legends Award. So besides it being a conglomeration of educators from across Africa and Liberia, which offers the best ground for networking. And let me say this to you. Some of the things that we do here that we have hurt our head on in the classroom and doing it repeatedly, some people have just found solution to it, and it only takes us to go and see. And I always like to call on Liberians. These kind of conferences, many, if it were outside of Liberia, many young Liberians want to travel outside of here to go and see it. I think you have heard people trying to get plane ticket to go to Ghana for 2 3 days conference. And this time around, the word in Africa is on the way here to Liberia. And I just pray and hope that educators will attend, will respect their own to attend, because you will not leave from this conference the same way you came.
So
Yeah.
let's look at the caliber of participants.
Yeah. So the conference is open to all educators. So you can be in early childhood education. You will want to come to listen. You can be in technical and vocational education. You will want to come to listen. We even have people who are coming from the journalistic background to participate in the conference. You can never know. This could be eye openers. We got sponsors, people who will be coming to exhibit their products and services. There are a group of guys who are coming with some books, early childhood books from outside of Liberia. There's a group that are coming with this success type, the one that has all of the Wehye questions that have ever been drawn. It is right into the success type. So your child only need that tablet and the educational materials embedded, including textbooks for every grade level from 6th grade to 12th grade. So those guys are coming with those types, and because
To be sold.
to be sold, of course.
Okay.
So that's exhibition. That's exhibition of their products and other stuff. So yes.
So
it
how
is
many
going to-
days does this
it-
conference run?
It's going to go for 2 days, December 8 and 9.
2 days
December-
enough,
2 days.
given the importance and significance?
Well, I looking at typical education conferences that we've attended. I think it's not how long is how well, and all of these speakers have the length of time that is supposed to do their presentation, and participants ask questions, and these participants are going to be walking away with a pen drive that will have not just their PowerPoint presentation, but their papers as outlined with references, and then a video presentation, so that like right now, most time I just take my laptop, open one of the lectures on, say for example, best practices in robotics education, and then watch that video and see how I can be able to set up some innovative robotics lab if I have the resources to. So it is an eye opener for every educator, and I call on all proprietors and principals across this country, including those who are in the universities, to take advantage of it and network and experience some of these
So
things.
how do you book a participation?
Well, a participation is for now is we call it the early bird registration for now to November 15. We still have the early bird registration for $50 US.
Okay.
Only $50. That $50 got your conference package. It got your pen drive. It got your breakfast, your lunch for the 2 days. It got whatever the conference is within that $50. So, but as from November 15 to December 7, you know, our librarian put a last minute of time. His conference is going to be $100. Like I said, there are speakers flying from the U.S. to Liberia. There are speakers from Ghana, from Nigeria flying to Liberia. The conference is responsible for their hotels, their flight tickets, their accommodation, everything in Liberia.
Okay.
You know, so the conference is supposed to be self-centered, self-sponsored rather.
Okay.
However, we are in touch with Ministry of Education and other partners.
I was about to ask
Yeah.
if you have their blessings.
And that is the reason why I'm here. I'm sure this is the Ministry of Education's platform.
Okay, so they support you.
Yeah, they support the initiative. They think it is going to be a great way to end the bicentennial year in bringing educators from outside of Liberia and into Liberia for the conclusion. In fact, the Minister of Education himself has been ready to deliver the welcome remarks of those African education legends that will be here in Liberia for those 2 days. The Vice President of the Republic has been earmarked to serve as the keynote speaker on day 2 that will climax the entire process.
Where is the venue?
The ministerial complex, the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex. And again, thanks to the Ministry of Education who use their influence to book the hall with our own honorable mother, Madam Mary Brown.
Do we hope to see a change or some kind of difference in the entire education system with all these educators, stakeholders in the education system coming together and brainstorming? Do we hope to see a change?
Of course. Like I said, when I attended this conference, I came back with a different mindset. If you had earlier followed me and the way some of us had engaged the Ministry of Education had been different from the time we listened to other African educators and the way they are helping to solve their country's problem. So this time around, it's not about blaming someone else for everything that happened in the sector. It's about you taking the responsibility for solving the problem at your doorstep. So you may hear a lot of educators blame. Yes, we can blame the Ministry of Education. Yes, we can blame the government. Yes, we can blame the finances of the country. But there is something you can do right in your backyard that can help to curb some of the deficiencies we have. So say, for example, recently we signed a memorandum of understanding declaring war against grayscaping and self-promotion. Currently we have, these are the signatures. We have over 75 school leaders who have signed up to the memorandum of understanding declaring war against self-promotion and grayscaping by our Liberian students.
What is that?
Now, you may be aware that these days, most time failures in school is almost equivalent to saying NTR. When a child, say for example, a school STEM or child's report card failed at the end of the year, say for example in 9th grade, you are just telling that child, don't come back to my school. And sometimes, supported by parents, the child goes to another school, gets in the 10th grade, not perhaps going with the old school documents, and sometimes lack of little supervision or verification by the new principal, that child is into the next class. And if that child fail in 10th grade again, the following year they in 11th grade. This has become a menace that not just after the war years, but it's becoming rampant, and there seems to be no mechanism to stop it. So recently what we did was, in one of our mass meetings, we decided to sit together and see how we as principals of this country can stop this. So this is how it works. The burden rests on me. Say, for example, from the Lacoste demonstration school. Last year, I had 33 students who failed. So I realized that we've gone first period and we're in second period. About 24 of them have not returned. That caused an alarm. Where are they? So I called a chapel service and asked their colleagues who they were in class with, because they are all from the communities, they know each other. Where is student John Brown? Oh, student John Brown is in, let's say, ELBC school. What class is he in? He's in 10th grade. Okay, he was in 9th grade and he failed. All I did
So
to
how
do,
come?
how come he got to 10th grade? And perhaps the principal or the registrar there, they didn't know, because he carried a document manufactured from somewhere that proved that he from a school and he was promoted. So since we started this process, I would just call ELBC school principal. Sir, do you have student Moses Blank in your school? He's in the 10th grade. And once you find out that he's in the 10th grade, I tell you that he's from my school. He didn't make it. The memorandum of understanding says that that principal is under obligation to ask that child to go back to the 9th grade, the rightful class from which he's from. If a school principal refuses to do that after a colleague from a sister school had informed you directly that this child left from my school and failed in my school and is in your school, if you refuse to do that, the Ministry of Education has signed onto the memorandum of understanding that they're going to take appropriate measures under their various statutes and their power to take action against you.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That particular MOU, I mean, it sounds good. So where are we with that? What's the status of that MOU?
Like I said,
You still generating signatures?
We're still generating signatures.
So how many signatures do you need?
We need as much as possible, And the Minister of Education took the copies the last time we were at the Effort Baptist Gym, and we have over, I think, 125 schools, proprietors and principals. What we did was, we brought the National Association of Private School Owners, the National Principal Association, the National PTA Network, and the Ministry of Education. So we all sat, carved the memorandum of understanding, and signed. So at this point, what we are doing now is to raise the awareness. Like, I'm going to Grand Bassa on Friday at the Buchanan demonstration school, where principals are going to also be gathered. We read this memorandum of understanding and they sign. So the Ministry of Education has committed to provide a platform for us to create awareness about this as we move towards the end of the year. So at the end, it will not just be a child own decision, or they and their parents' own decision to wake up from one school because they fail and go to the next school with no remorse, with no mechanism. This time around, principals know that one student failed in your school and left your school, something must ring bell to you why they left. And it's so easy for you to find out, very easy. All of those students are from the same community. They know each other. And it hurts some of those students that they study their lessons, they go to school, they try to make a pass, and then someone sit in the community with them and tell them, look, you're wasting your time. You all are wearing tie, we all wearing the necktie now.
Are you sure that other principals will be committed to the MOU? Given the fact that schools need money.
You see, that is where we overlook, but I can say this to you. Since we started this, we have had 64 cases. 64 cases, and we started it 2 months ago. 64 cases have reached to our offices, and those students have gone back to their classes. It is disdaining to any school principal, especially when you are a school principal and not a market seller, to say that a colleague of yours called you respectfully and say, this child who is called this is in this class, that child left from my school, and the child is in another class. The first thing there is, it exposes your verification mechanism. So the best thing that principal can do is just to act on the recommendations of the principal who call. Sometimes we have cases where the new principal will say, okay, can you bring documents to prove? And all we have to do, that's why we have a committee who will send the documents that, yes, this is a child who came from this school. And by that, why will a principal say no? I believe that this is one of the easiest mechanisms that those of us who sit at the borders of many of these children can be able to help to curb this. Because as the kids go up with the kind of self-promotion and grade skipping, we experience the detrimental aspect in the WAS exam. I say this to you, if our kids who are being promoted through the merit system can just go up from 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, we will not have the kind of massive failures we usually have. Though it's improving, results are improving, but it is still alarming as compared to the other countries that we see around us.
So are schools actually signing up, and are these schools only in Montserrat, or are you going out?
That is why I said to you, I'm on my way to this.
Because
All this MOU, this one was signed in Montserrat.
Okay.
In Montserrat, from across Montserrat, we went to La Quere. We had the group of principals from Left Bank 2 and Left Bank 1. They gathered at La Quere, they signed. And we're going to Grand Bassa. We intend to go to every part of the country. In fact, there are plans to have the Memorandum of Understanding translated into local vernacular and placed on local community radios. You know, the danger of grade skipping and how principals in those places can be able to collaborate to be able to curb it.
Yeah, you're trying to create a network of principals to do this, but what about the parents? These actions, and they are aided and abetted by the parents. They know very well that their children or your child has failed in this class, but he's trying to self-promote in another school. And the finance, the finances come from the parents.
Every one of us know that.
So you need to get them involved in this MOU.
Now we are at the border. We are at the doors of our schools. That's why we are called principals. Look, once we grab this vision, once we work in the network that we've started to create, you see most of the big schools that we have, they have started working with us. I will receive WhatsApp message from, for example, CWA. Do you have the principal of Don Bosco number? Oh, yes. Okay, please give it to me. I got a student. And quickly, because I have a database of all of the high schools in this country, I think 809. Once you register with Wehye, I got your database. So I will just go into that and just text it to you. And it has worked. The network is working. What has not happened before was that we didn't believe that we could do this together. We didn't believe that we could do this together. So by the time students fail in our school, you know it hurts. For you to not deliberately, for those students to fail themselves over the years, and then you stem their car fail, and before you know it, they are off your school. It sometimes embarrasses the system. So now, most time, many schools will not want to fail students anymore because they know that the number of students you fail are the number of students who are going to be leaving your school. So many schools have started becoming weak. We started hearing evidences of schools who will now want to fail students because when you fail those students, they will leave your school. So this kind of mechanism shows that even if you fail the kid, that kid cannot just easily leave to the next school because it will hurt you. You will have to follow that kid up. And because it's a network, the last time I was here talking about this, no one is to be blamed. The principal don't even know, this child will not even know it was you who called it. All you do is call your colleague, and your colleague, after the verification, walk into the classroom, ask the registrar for whatever documents the child brought them into the school, and you start to see some weaknesses in your own recruitment processes, which can help you to curtail.
So let's talk about violators.
Well, that is where the Ministry of Education come in. Once at the Principal Association level, at the National Proprietor Association level, and again, I told you proprietors who own most of these schools, who people think that they are the one who usually want to collect money, they have agreed. Most of them have agreed. And then we have the PTA network signing. But the Ministry of Education role is to provide support, technical, moral, material support where necessary, to ease the investigation of allegations in remote counties, for example. So say, for example, there is a case in Maryland that needs to be investigated, and all the ministry needs to do after they are informed is to call the CEO of Maryland and say there is a case with this school and this schools, you need to intervene. And again, this thing is demeaning for any principal to say, I will not allow this child to go back to the next class after investigation from a colleague have proved that this child did not pass. I don't know what kind of children you want to be training. I don't know how many parents will want to send their children to that kind of school. But again, we need to raise the awareness. Parents will be informed that the open door they used to have with getting their children out of the one school to another just by producing documents from wherever and entering our system. There are some checkmates that we are doing now that will allow them to make their children to sit down and study their lessons instead of passing themselves or promoting themselves at the end of the year.
Okay, so if you just joined us, you're listening to the Super Morning Show this morning. I have with me Dr. Benjamin Wehye. He's the president, National Association of Liberia School Principals. Let's come back to the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of, because this is a big organization of conference of that nature.
Yeah.
What's the status of preparation?
I said last night I couldn't sleep, especially when we enter November. It has to do with a lot of logistics. I have written, and because Liberians love last minute of time, I know they will come, but there are too many preparations that's supposed to be done before even we enter December. Say, for example, the awards need to be arranged. You need to get your banners out. You need to get your messages out. So what I have done is to write some prominent schools across Liberia to help in sponsorship. Say, for example, the Salvation Army, they just called me that they will be sponsoring 10 students, into the conference, At
So
least
students can be
10,
participants?
not students now, rather.
Teachers.
10 teachers, 10 of the staff will be participating, and they are willing to pay that. So those are the kind of support we are lobbying for. I've also written some members of parliament who have asked to sponsor this great initiative by sponsoring at least 10 principals from their districts. I've written a lot of them, because some of the principals from the county, even if they have the $50, they may not have transportation to attend the event. So I've written some parliamentarians to see if they can just help to sponsor 10 participants. I send them with the registration form and everything, and from here I'm doing some follow-up. So if we have 20 persons, 20 schools saying that they can sponsor 10 persons from each of those places, then we have almost 200 participants. And like I said, with that number, we are able to pre-book the hotel, pre-book the flight for our guests coming from out, and set up the whatever logistical needs we have to do. The catering is one of the largest expensive. We are hoping to get a few stakeholders into that to be able to help. To get 500 persons seated with breakfast and lunch. It's a lot of things. So we're just calling on educators across this country to see this as an initiative worth sponsoring. But as it stands, currently we have like 75 who have engaged and already paid. And 75 persons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mostly teachers?
Mostly principals and
Principals,
preparators.
okay.
Mostly principals and preparators.
Okay, you said this is not a workshop, but would there be, discussions around some of the issues education faces?
Oh yeah. That we have some dialogue, education dialogue, that will have some panelists discussing some of the challenges, like
With particular spotlights in Liberia.
in Liberia.
Some of the issues.
Yeah.
So what are some of the common, challenges that the education system in Liberia faces?
Well, one of the panel discussion is going to do a comparative analysis of Liberia education sector as compared to Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, and those guests coming. So we have a Liberian on the panel, we have a Ghanaian. So they gave us the strength and the weaknesses of the various sectors from which we can we can learn from. Another issue will have to do with the issue of Wehye. There's this controversy about how the other countries in Africa do their Wehye in terms of graduation. Do they wait for results before they graduate? The people who takes Wehye in Ghana, when do they take it? We hear from there that people take it 2-3 times. Why is it different here? Why are we tied to graduation to the extent that the school results and their grades is more or less no longer becoming valid, So a child passed Wehye and failed our school. It doesn't make any much impact. The parents say the child passed Wehye.
So Wehye is overtaking.
Wehye has overtaken everything. How can we have discussion around that to see what lessons we can learn moving forward? How can we better up our supervision in terms of you always hear there is no supervision, weak supervisory mechanism in terms of monitoring our schools. How can we all put our heads together, learning from the other people, and they too learning from us? Like when I was doing my presentation on the panel, this same discussion on the strengths and weaknesses of our sector. And people were like, what is he going to say about Liberia's education? We have a strength. We are very resilient. Liberia's education sector has survived many decades of turbulences. And you and I know that we all left from the system. You can't tell me that what we learn from in this system is as bad as people think. Our sector has remained resilient over the years as compared to many of other systems. I don't think many systems will survive the kind of shock that our system has done. But what we need to transition from is something hereditary that I call the conflict theory in education. And the conflict theory is just basically, instead of education being used to reduce inequality, education over the years from the history of education of our country has been used to perpetuate inequality. So you see there is a mismatch. There has been a mismatch. It's changing now. Like I was telling you about the BWR program, TVET is now being elevated to a higher level to connect it with the economy. So our system over the years has produced people who are not more or less relevant. So we have grown in access a little bit. We have grown in quality a little bit. But we are far behind in relevance. In the relevance of education. In terms of, by that I mean, how does
in the sub-region?
In the sub-region, we are far behind in relevance. Today we're talking about technology. Today Liberia is talking about fisheries. Today Liberia is talking about mining. Today Liberia is talking about road construction. How many?
We haven't used our strength to elevate it to the level.
To the level that our labor market is produced right by our university.
Okay.
So that we reduce, foreign direct investment. People want to come, but the cost of bringing expatriate to this country in terms of investment is so high. You will not find the technocrats on the ground.
And another thing, Mr. Wehye, is that we are lagging behind in terms of data. We don't have data.
Good.
If you do a research on Liberia, you will still be looking at something from 2005, 6, 7, 8. I mean, and these researches they are done by maybe the international people.
And most time when they do it, it doesn't really represent us. I can say this to you: when people,
you think they are overstating?
They either overstate or understate to be able to get more donor funding. And with all respect to the international partners and their contributions, I have seen it. I rode a flight, the MAF flight from Springfield to Maryland. I sat with a guy who was going to collect data on girls' education and something like that, and I saw the guy filling in the form right in the flight right next to me, and we got to Maryland. We went to the same guest house. He remained there for 3 days, and I saw him flying back, and he was supposed to go to some part of Maryland to collect data. In other words, I'm saying to you that there is a sense in which people, because of the lack of strong supervision, we respect Liberians. We respect the guys so much, and because of the mentality, we think that we are begging for it, and and so we tend to agree on many things. Our negotiation on the table is not strong enough.
Okay.
So most time the money comes and the money go back, and the little is used in our system. So all of this can change if we all put our hands to the deck and be able to communicate it and be able to talk about it and find solutions.
Okay, so you can call us on 0880514 0800514 07705818886 07705818886 080514096 and be live. We in conversation with Dr. Benjamin Wehye. He's the president of the Principals Association. Let's speak with this person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Benjamin Wehye.
Morning. What's your name?
I'm Flomo G. Tubuga calling from Johnsonville.
Let's hear you. Oh, we lost you. Call back, please. Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
This is Varflay. Good morning, Dr. Wehye.
Good morning, sir.
I call from Banga.
Okay.
Let's hear you.
Okay. I want to take this time to thank the doctor so much. He has explained so much, especially the issue of the conference he talked about. It's going to create a lot of awareness and education for our educators in Liberia. But straight to the issue of this student commuting from one school to another only because they did not make it into the next class in that particular school. Waiting for principal to call another principal to let them know that this child stayed in their school, I don't think it will work better because you will have students living from one country to another where it may not be in the proximity of one of the principals who falls victim to the issue. So my recommendation here could be that since they have already set up an interactive internet system, let them try to use that annually. Each of the principals, because most of these schools, the failing students are less than the number that pass. So they can post this information on that particular system or network system so that information could be spread up to the various schools on students that have not made it to the next class. By that,
Okay.
you will have people catching these people who want to do the system.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
I'm Flomo G. Tubuga calling from Johnsonville.
Oh, okay. You left the line. Go ahead.
I want to appreciate Dr. Benjamin Wehye so much for his level of analysis and his innovation. And I hope Liberia and the educational institutions and that of our education ministry, the minister, they will embrace this idea.
Okay.
Because it's very essential, and I'm overwhelmingly excited to have heard of him saying such a thing. Because it's very essential now in our educational system we find this kind of cases going around and people just don't care.
Okay.
So it's very good of him. And one thing I want to make my point on is he talked about schools being notified of students leaving one institution to the other, and once the connectivity is done, now this institution have to make a follow that our student go back. What if this principal doesn't make the student to go back to their classes they should have been after they have promoted themselves, and what are consequences to these schools?
Okay.
I did not get any clarity on that, but I think there should be something like that that could help at least augment what he's about to.
Yeah. He will respond. He will respond to that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So let's hear from this person. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
State Radio, and good morning to Dad in studio.
Go ahead.
This is Fode Mohammed Kakwe, political name, the National Secretary of the Abundance Mission to reject year 2023.
But how does that have to do with the discussion?
Yeah, that's my introduction.
Go ahead. You are liberty to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I listened to the Dad when he talked about students who fail and leaving from that school to another school. There should be some communication between the principals in a various school. I want to agree with him. But this comes with sincerity. Because if you observe, every school nowadays in Liberia wants a student. So if a child fails in my school, and goes to that school, if that is sincere and is not eager to get students, that should be able to communicate with me through the document that the child will carry with my contact number, will be able to communicate with me and get the actual story about this child. If only if the child did fail, and I would tell that yeah, that child failed. And definitely, if that child was maintain that school, that child was definitely repeat that identical class. But if he or she doesn't, he or she should come back to the school that she failed from. But if that communication is not stable, and school are not sincere in making sure that there, because I want students, every school wants students. And this is the easiest way to mitigate this issue is to regulate those rough schools to make sure that you get the standard that you really want. Because in as much anybody can just go in the morning and open school, definitely the regulatory system will be very weak and poor.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Morning. What's the name?
My name is Elijah Kier from Banana.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you for the program, my brother. I'm not really well, but there are some of the programs that when we hear, even if you're not well, you really want to partake. I want to appreciate the studio guest for that kind of engagement. You know, our country is gradually spoiling by these things. The children go from school to school changing grades. Even my own children do that. It's really bad. Let us continue that program. I think it will work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's hear from this person lastly. Morning. Morning, what's the name? Okay, I appreciate that you call as the first female, but if you leave the radio, I will be so happy, yeah? Okay, you okay now. You are starting radio and you know, yeah.
I want to say, thank you, South Indian guest. I'm Miss Nina Jacob. I've been calling on several talk shows concerning my honor TV. I've been on a day for 10 years as a DSC degree holder. I continue to receive and this certificate money. I've talked and nobody has to listen to me. So I think, what is your role in making sure that your teachers and being paid the right money that will connect with their degrees?
Okay.
And every time you say challenge, the challenge can't be over. It's too much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, Mr. Wehye, you can respond to the concerns. You know, you already have one case that you are under obligation to advocate for, especially the underpaying of your
Well, I wouldn't want to say that. Again, the teachers who work with us, some work with private school, some work with public school. There is a National Teachers Association that's supposed to really be involved with the teachers' issues. I wish she would say she was a principal. I would say, can you attend one of our meetings so that we can find a way to talk about this? But it's complicated. She's a teacher. She's on her pay. I pray that something be done about it. I wouldn't want to say much about that. On the issue of punitive measures that will be taken against principals who will deliberately deny the request or the information provided by a colleague. Few things we've planned to do. That principal will be delisted as a member of the association if that principal is an active member, and that is the reason why we have increasing our network. The principal association is becoming larger by the day across the country because of some of the work that we are doing. So we'll delist the person, and then we inform the Ministry of Education. I'm sure every year ministry asks for issues like permit, and the permit got regulations. So if a principal decide that a child went to a school that was not right for the class and he was informed and he didn't take an action, I think there is a point in time that he has to be checkmated through the regulations of permit, whether he will receive them or not. I want to appreciate you for this.
Somebody was talking about creating database that
Good,
like
yeah.
on the internet.
That is something we, in fact, day before yesterday at the Monday, we had a discussion with a fellow. There are some technology giants in Liberia, a very young guy who said it was possible for him to build a platform that will integrate schools in terms of sharing of failure list, and that is to assign ID numbers. And when he said it, it rings bell about some of the things that are working across the world. Once you have if the Ministry of Education come up with an ID number system for all students from K to 12, and your ID number is almost like your social security number, according to him, it's possible for you to build a system that once that ID number belongs to that child information, the parent information, everything will be built into that system. And at any point that child goes to another school, the only thing the school need to ask for is the ID number. By the time they put your ID number into that system, that child entire information will come up, which school he from and so forth. So those are big projects that require macro level policies in terms of the government indicating that they want ID numbers to be assigned to every student in the republic. Those are discussions, again, we can have with the Ministry of Education. It is possible. But in the interim, until we can reach that point, it